Buongiorno everyone and welcome back to Lineup Predictions. It's been over 100 days, but finally football is back. It's been long and it's been shit, just like my hair. Let me take you back. It's the morning of Friday the 13th of March. Every other top flight football division in Europe has already been postponed. We're just waiting on the Premier League being cancelled. But obviously Boris was a little bit too busy for that, wasn't he? I woke up at my girlfriend's house. I had lineup predictions to do. I raced home. Kind of expected the season to be announced either that day. I think everyone thought it was either going to be announced on Friday afternoon or possibly Saturday. It's about a 20-minute drive, 15-20 minutes between her house and my house. I pulled up at the door, notification on my phone, it's been cancelled. So that was a waste of a morning. I'd already prepped my notes, had the edits and all that lined up. Waste of time. So finally, just more than 3 months later, we're finally ready to play Sheffield United at home. The game is on Sunday, 2 p.m. kickoff. God knows what channel it's on. I think it's on Pick TV or some shit. I don't even know what's going on anymore. I don't know what day it is. Lockdown's knocked me a loop. The last time we did play was the 7th of March in a 1-0 win away to Southampton. Winner scored by Alan Saint-Maximin. In the last couple of weeks, we've had a couple of friendlies. We had one between ourselves in a training session at St James's. We also played at the training ground against Middlesbrough, where we won 3-2, and at home again at St James's in a 2-0 win over Hull City just last Sunday. There's been a couple of few injuries since that game. I think there was one or two picked up in the Hull game, actually, but Brucey's press conference this morning, good to have that back. There's a few confirmed out. Kieran Clark will be out, Dwight Gale, Sean Longstaff, and Matty Longstaff has one of them coincidentally timed injuries. You know, usually just before somebody leaves the club, they tend to pick up an injury, don't they? And it wasn't actually mentioned in the press conference, but according to Matty Raisbeck at BBC Newcastle, Brucey's told him that it was Florian Lejeune, the goal scorer of the first goal against Hull, picked up a knock there, so he's unlikely to come into the team on Sunday. And Matt Ritchie is a slight doubt, but Brucey thinks he's going to be okay, so we're just going to need to monitor Matt Ritchie. Other than that, we've got a relatively large squad. Jethro Willems, he's still out. Paul Dummett is back. He was ruled out in about January time, same as Jethro Willems. He was meant to be out for the season, but obviously as the season was meant to have concluded about 3 weeks ago, Dummett's fit again, but he is ineligible because he was replaced in the team thinking he was going to be out for the season. The loan guys that came in, Bentaleb, Rose and Lazaro, have taken his place, so Paul Dummett is going to be ineligible, as will Dan Barlasa, who's back off his loan. And not involved in the squad are the ones that obviously we're probably going to try and ship off. Jamie Sterry and Jack Colback are out of contract. They haven't returned back to training, as well as Henri Save and Rolando Aarons, who's back off his loan. Not involved and probably never going to see them again. So yeah, a couple of first teamers out there. Like I said, it's a relatively big squad, minus Clark Gale, the two Longstaffs and Lejeune. A few youngsters have came in. They have been taking part in the training sessions with the first team this week, and because they're under 21 years of age, are eligible for the Premier League, which is Tom Allen, who's been a part already this season, the tall goalkeeper Dan Langley, Kelland Watts at the back, and Jack Young in midfield. It's going to be a tough one on Sunday. Sheffield United are a decent team. They're sitting in sixth, the very healthy position in the league, fighting for the Europa League, and there's every chance that they will get it. They've been fantastic. Who would have thought Sheffield United would have been up there? Personally, I think I tipped them to come possibly rock bottom, maybe as even 19th when we did our Premier League prediction lineup in Main Renty. I think we both had them either 19th or 20th, either way around. I can't remember. It was that long ago. We did beat them 2-0 at their place in on the 5th of December, I think it was. Midweek game. So Maximin got his first goal. I think that was Carroll's first start. And obviously John Joe Shelvey got that VAR goal, which was absolutely beautiful, if I do say so myself. So yeah, it should be a tough game. They played the other day, though. Like, Sheffield United are still one of them teams, to me, who, like, yeah, they're sitting well in the league, but potentially, I don't know, I'm still not convinced by them. I think next season, if they do get Europa League, they'll catch that Europa League syndrome and they'll be found out and possibly be in a relegation scrap next year. So we did beat them 2-0 away in quite a comfortable game. I didn't really feel any threat from them, much, if any at all. And they played the other night, the first game after lockdown, the 0-0 draw. Well, what was a 0-0 draw against 19th place Aston Villa, but obviously they had their own little technical malfunction there, so they probably should have got a 1-0 win and 3 points, but they didn't. If you're going to play a team in the bottom three and when you're sixth, you shouldn't be relying on goal line technology. You should be putting that game to bed. So I'm a little bit confident going into this game. I think we can get a result. I think a point will be a decent result, but I don't think there's any reason why we can't go there and take all 3 points, if I'm honest. So we'll get into what we came here to do with the lineup there then, and obviously in nets, Martin Dubravka. At fullback, I'm going to go with Javi Manquillo, who is out of contract soon in the next couple of weeks. It's been reported this morning, though. I also seen last night that he's actually due to sign a new long-term contract at the club. So it does expire at the end of this month. There's a couple whose contracts are running out who apparently have verbally agreed to stay until the end of the season, which is Javi Manquillo and Andy Carroll. They will be staying out the rest of the season, regardless of contracts. Manquillo, for me, he went on a decent run towards the end of... I keep going to say before last season, but it wasn't last season. It was before lockdown. He got a good run in the team. I think the last 4 or 5 games before lockdown, he had a good run starting at full-back. The last game against Southampton, I wasn't really convinced by him. If you watched the live stream, the watch-along me and Renty did, we were quite critical of him. I think it was one of his poorer games he's played for Newcastle. He eventually got taken off for Valentino Lazaro, which I thought was a good change. I thought Lazaro's pace and energy to get forward really sparked new life into us. Manquillo, he was a bit sloppy in his passes and everything, but I think he should be starting. We've got a couple other options as well with DeAndre Yedlin, who was tried out the other day. I think Middlesbrough was the game. He was played on the right wing, which is where people have been saying for years he should be playing because he's not a defensive player. He's a decent wing back. Defensively is his weakness, which is a full back. You need to obviously be better at defending. There's Emil Kraft as well, who's quite the opposite. I don't mind Emil Kraft at right back. He's been playing most of the season as a wing back, but opposite to Yedlin, Kraft's strengths probably are defending and less getting forward. But Manquillo, I think he's got a good balance in between. I think he offers something different to them too. And yeah, I quite like Manquillo's versatility. He can be switched over to the left-hand side as well, which is where I think he might start against Middlesbrough as well. Alongside him then in centre defence, with Clark and Lejeune both out, I'm going to stick Federico Fernandez in. Similar to Manquillo, before lockdown, he had a good run in the team. Him and Lascelles, who I'm going to partner him with, had a fantastic run in the team, and between them, I don't even think they conceded a goal. After a 0-0 draw with Burnley, a 1-0 win against Southampton, and I can't even remember the last game, but I'm sure they kept 3 clean sheets between them. Yeah, Lascelles, the captain, he missed out on the game. I think it was the whole game he missed out on. Everyone were a bit concerned that it was potentially an injury, but it was the birth of a new child. So congratulations to Captain Jamal on the birth of his new baby. At left back, I'm going to stick in Danny Rose. He's come in for a little bit of criticism during lockdown. He looked like he came back into training after putting on a little bit of beef, too many fish and chips, because everyone knows he likes them fish and chips from Newcastle. But I haven't got any problem with Danny Rose. He played in both of the games. I've seen clips of him in training. He does look sharp, but he was another one before lockdown due to the change of formation. Really excelled. When he first came in, he was playing as a full-back, and getting forward isn't necessarily one of his qualities. I'm not really sure if he's fit enough or quick enough to be bombing up and down, overlapping some Maximin. I think Willems was able to do that quite well, but he gassed out as well. His injury was a long time coming. I think he was a ticking time bomb between December and January. I think Willems needed a rest, but due to other people being injured, like Dummett and Ritchie, there was no one else to cover. So Willems was forced to play these games, absolutely got himself buggered, so we had to bring in Danny Rose, who hadn't played for about 6 months for Tottenham. He was frozen out of that team. So he came in, lack of match fitness, quite a bit out of shape, playing out of, well, not fully out of position, but a role he wasn't really comfortable with. But yeah, since getting a few run of games on his belt, getting used to his teammates and the play style, then the change of formation, going to a flat back 4, I think he started to have some really, really good games. I remember we were at the game away to West Brom in the FA Cup, and I thought he was excellent. So Danny Rose in there for me, as I really wouldn't put anyone else in. Like I said, Dummett's ineligible and Matt Ritchie's a doubt, so there isn't anyone else other than Danny Rose. Into the midfield, I will put Jonjo Shelvey. He started the game against Southampton last time, and I thought he had a cracking game. First half particularly, he was outstanding. Second half, he fell asleep a little bit. He had a decent spell late on, but yeah, Jonjo Shelvey, I think this is the kind of game Sheffield United, particularly at home, if there's a home advantage, that he'll really thrive on. I thought when we played Sheffield away, he had a good game, obviously scored the second goal in the 2-0 win. So I'd expect Jonjo Shelvey to thrive here. Alongside him, it would be the first time we've seen them together, but I would put Nabil Bentaleb. I don't think these two have worked together, Shelvey and Bentaleb. I would put Isaac Hayden in, but I think Brucey's got a bit of a love affair with Bentaleb. Obviously, his loan's been extended. Bentaleb played a lot under Steve Bruce, and froze Hayden out when he first came. And his performances for a run of games, 3-4 games, I thought he was dreadful. I was crying out for Hayden to come back in. But again, I think it was the West Brom game away just before lockdown that I thought Bentaleb had a really, really good game. And he scored that absolute thunder cunt in training that we seen the video from a couple of weeks ago. So I'd quite like that dynamic, I think, between Shelvey and Bentaleb. Obviously, Hayden's a great shout. If Hayden comes in place of Bentaleb, I'm not going to argue. But I don't think Hayden and Bentaleb would work well together. I think they're a bit too similar. Both quite strong, both defensive. And Shelvey's that playmaker who can make things happen, look up and get a forward pass off. In front of them, Miguel Almiron in the number 10 role, where he should be. Another one, just before lockdown, got played in his position and did really, really well, surprisingly. Miguel Almiron is a number 10. He's great in that role. We were playing him for about a year out on the left, just because he's quick. I mean, don't get us wrong, I think he did all right, but it did take him a year to score his first goal or notch up his first assist. I think a lot of people were getting a little bit tired of him, thinking maybe he's a flop, but the performances started coming from December onwards, and when we changed the formation and he got to play that number 10 role, things started to happen. On the right outside, I'm going to put Valentino Lazaro. As I said, the game against Southampton, he came on and made a difference, although that was at fullback. His pace and he's just got something different that we haven't really got in this team. He's another one that's versatile. He can play at fullback. He can play on the wings, either right or left. Very, very versatile player. He's quick, got skill, come from a great team like Inter Milan. So he's an international as well. And we haven't really seen much of him either. He was another one that started against West Brom and had a really good game. I think that front three with Almiron, Lazaro, Saint-Maximin and Joelinton, I think they work really, really well together. Three quick, creative players. Where if one of them wasn't there, it would be like a Jenga block. I think they would all fall, particularly Joelinton. I think he needs them kind of players around him. And I think Lazaro just offers a little bit more than some of the players that we've got in the team at the minute. On the left-hand side, obviously, the main man, Saint-Maximin. Obviously, he's not going to stay out right or left. It doesn't matter where you play Saint-Maximin, but he's the main guy, the one that's going to make things happen, the one who's absolutely lightning. Scored the winner in the last league game against Southampton and scored in the last friendly game last Sunday, the 2-0 win over Hull. So I'm expecting big things from Saint-Maximin. He obviously got his first goal, the header against Sheffield United away back in December. So I'm expecting big things from Saint-Maximin on Sunday. And up top, we're going to stick Joelinton back in. I have said in recent videos that he's not a striker. I don't particularly want to see him there. I don't really rate him as a striker, but we are very short. Like with Gale, he started the last few games before lockdown against Southampton and Burnley, but didn't really cut it for me. He was particularly against Southampton, missed a hat-trick of chances in that first half. Two of them were sitters. The other one should have at least gone on target. Present them kind of chances to any top confident player in the Premier League, like a Sergio Aguero. That's a first half hat-trick. They were on a plate for him and he squandered them. But for me, Joelinton, I think he deserves a chance. I think he's another one whose confidence and form is increasing since the formation change. He was playing out on the left, which is his more natural position, and playing really, really well, I thought. The only game that he did play up top was the West Brom game away in the Cup, and I thought he was absolutely fantastic. I really thought he had a great game up top. You could see he had confidence. He was running in. He was running at full-backs with a bit of pace, a bit of skill. For Almiron's second goal, he had that lovely back heel. So he's picking up confidence. I think he's settling. Like, not everyone adapts to the Premier League like that. Even some of the best players. He was a 22-year-old, came from a foreign league. He's from Brazil. Didn't speak any English when he first came. He wasn't even here with his family when he first came. And like, he's come to the toughest league in the world. So for me, like, it's gonna be hard to adapt, and like playing out of position as well, being played as a lone striker up top in a defensive formation. How was anyone gonna expect him to score 20 goals a season? Like, I honestly think Alan Shearer probably wouldn't have scored any more. Well, probably would have scored a few more. Maybe it's about 6-7 goals I think Shearer might have had at this stage in the league with the defensive formation that was started with. So I think this might be an opportunity for Joelinton to show what he can do. A lot of Newcastle fans have been talking about him recently regarding not having the crowd on his back, which could be a positive thing for him. Like, he has getting a lot of stick from the crowd. He might feel a bit nervous. Like, we are a rowdy bunch. It must be intimidating for anyone going to St James's. So without the crowd on his back, with more options with Almiron, Lazaro and Saint-Maximin around him, feeling a bit more comfortable, having a bit more support, he could do wonders. So I was saying in the Southampton game, I would love to see the chances Gale got fall to Joelinton, see how he would have fared, see if he would have done any better. He may have not have, like, we don't know. So I think this is a great opportunity for him to come in, see what he can do. He's a bit more comfortable now, got a bit of form, a bit of confidence, playing in the right role, and got a few goals in the friendlies as well. Got 2 goals, I think one against Middlesbrough and another in the game just at St James's in the training session. So with that team, I'm more than happy with that. Like, I think that's more than enough to get past Sheffield United. Like, I know that, like I say, they're sitting in 6th, they're looking good, but they're not that great of a team. I think if we put pressure on them, maybe try and get an early goal, we can win this. In terms of the bench, there's more options now, obviously. We've gone from having 7 substitutes on the bench, only being able to use 3. We now have 9 available, and we can use 5. So there's 2 more on the bench, 2 more you can bring on, a bit more fresh legs. So with most of the injuries and the doubts, this is my bench. Carl Darlow, obviously, to back up Martin Dubravka. DeAndre Yedlin, as I mentioned, good full-back and also an option to go on the wing if need be. I did make a last-minute change, to be honest. Out of all the first-teamers who are available, with the exception of Rob Elliott, Emil Kraft was the only one I was actually going to leave out. But with Lejeune's injury, which I now know, which I didn't know this morning, I've made that little change. Emil Kraft can come in on the bench and also provide cover, with Fabian Schär as the defensive option to cover for Fernandes and Lascelles. I think with Schär, Lejeune and Clark, when Clark's back and fit, fighting for a place on the bench, fighting for starting place between Fernandes and Lascelles, I think we've got a great bunch of options there, especially with an extra one on the bench. Like, I wouldn't see the need in having 2 centre-backs on the bench, but with more bodies there, I don't see why not. But obviously they're injured, so Schär's the only one who's really going to come in, with Kraft as well and DeAndre Yedlin. Matt Ritchie, as I mentioned, may be a doubt. He could also be versatile in playing on the wing or at full-back. If Matt Ritchie doesn't make the squad, which I'm sure he's meant to be, Brucey says he's a minor doubt, but he should be okay. But if he's not, the only one I think could maybe come in is young Jack Young, centre midfielder. The other only options are Tom Allen, who's usually a striker, but he's been played absolutely everywhere as well. Or Kel Watts, who's a centre-back, or Dan Langley, who's a goalkeeper. So, yeah, I would expect Matt Ritchie to be in there, or probably Jack Young. If he doesn't, Isaac Hayden, who I've mentioned, can cover for Shelvey and Bentaleb, or Hayden will start ahead of Bentaleb and Bentaleb can be on the bench. I'd be happy with that either way. Christian Atsu was an option for the wing. He's been discussed a little bit. Is he good enough for this team? Maybe not. We'll see what happens next season. But in terms of having 9 players on the bench, I think he deserves a spot. Could come on in place of Lazaro in the second half if we've got tired legs. I don't know. Andy Carroll, as I mentioned, likely to sign a new contract. He's going to stay until the end of the season, although it may run out. We've just got to wait and see what happens with that. And Muto, who me and Renty spoke about the other day, not really convinced on Muto. He's another one who I think might be a bit dead weight, who we should probably be looking to seek off in the summer. A lot of people have been defending him, saying he hasn't been given a chance, he's unproven, this, that and the other. But for me, he's been here for 2 years. He's had a few injuries, but not many. Like, he usually can't make the matchday squad when fit. He barely makes the Japan squad at times. So to me, I just don't really think he's there. He's looked all right in pre-season games and cup games against League One opposition. He's had a few chances in the Premier League. The only shining moment was when he scored his first goal away against Man United. But other than that, against top teams, I haven't seen anything of him when he has been given a chance. But as I say, we're short on options. 9 players on the bench. We've got to fill the spot somehow with Gale unavailable, as well as Sean and Matty Longstaff. There's a spot there. Atsu and Muto, the only ones questionable. Maybe they might get replaced by Tom Allen or Jack Young. Only time will tell. Who knows? So that's my lineup there. I think that's more than enough to get past Sheffield United. If we could take a point away from it, I'd be more than happy with that. But I definitely think 3 points are up for grabs there. We need to start picking up them points to push towards survival. I do think we'll be fine, but you never know. I think we do still need about 5 or 6 points. If we can get them early, we've got Aston Villa, who's 19th on Wednesday. There's 6 points up for grabs there straight away. Like, we need to be pushing on, trying to make sure we get there. So it's been fun. It's been 3 months since I've done this, and I've missed it. Hopefully you've noticed a few new edits. This time in quarantine has given us plenty of time to reflect. There's been loads of things that me and Renty's been wanting to do with this channel, but with the usual midweek routine and the weekend games coverage, as well as working full-time jobs, it's been hard to find the time, really. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe to the Magpie Channel TV, and enjoy yourself.